at 7:11 p.m. according to the clock on the television. I'm just going to go through real quick. I've got from West River, I have Al present live, Emily on TV, I have Dana live, we have Joe live, and we have Peter on TV, and we have no Paul. Okay. We have Rich from River Valleys. I have Kate live, and I have Dwight on TV. Hi, Dwight. I have Dan live from Marlboro and Rachel on TV. And I have Howie from Windham on TV and no Allison. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11 of 13. Not a bad turnout. We have our superintendent, our business manager, curriculum. You guys want to let us know who you all are?
My name's Stephen Bryant. I'm a homeowner in Jamaica, Vermont. I've been here for about 15 years.
Thank you.
Drew Hamilton. I'm a West River board member and I also live in Jamaica.
Karen Amadon from Jamaica.
Okay, and then we got a list of everybody who's on TV. Meredith, did you get the people in the audience here? Okay.
First, Peter is on line.
Oh.
Board member.
Did he pop in?
Yeah, Peter did.
Yeah,
Paul
you're
was
right.
not
No,
missing.
Paul I said we're missing. I got Peter. And I didn't have a Mary. I was looking for Peter, Paul, and Mary. So, yeah, we're only missing 2 people. Okay, so we've called to order. Are there any changes to the agenda? Anybody from the board? Everybody good? Anybody in TV land, any changes? Okay, I got one quick one. I'm gonna add a members of the public because we actually have public here tonight. So we have quite a bit of public on TV. So we're gonna run through members of the public and then we'll go into new business unless anybody has any objections. Anybody on TV have any objections? And you gotta yell out because I can't see y'all very well.
I'll just say the agenda has been trashed, so maybe we could resend the agenda to those of us who are online.
Trashed.
Well, it says the agenda is now in trash. The owner's trash. I assume because it was the wrong.
I think Sue is trying to update that.
That would be fine. I just wanted to make sure I don't have an agenda in front of me because I can't get into it anymore.
Okay, does any of the board members in TV land have a problem with adding members of the public?
No.
Okay, so I'll do that before new business, and then I think we're good with new business, old business, and no executive session items, Bob?
No, not
Okay.
aware of.
Cool. So I'm gonna start with you guys came out live, so I think Drew, you were here first, then you, sir, and then I think you came third. And then we'll go to TV land. Try to keep it around 3 minutes just because we got a lot of people. That way everybody gets a chance.
Just a point of order, are we going to be, as members of the public, allowed to speak as different agenda items comes up, or is this going to be
No,
a meeting where
usually
you're
get to
not
speak
gonna allow-
with members of the public, yeah.
I say different boards do
Yeah.
things different ways. So then I guess I'll have to kind of throw it all in here before the conversation starts. It's certainly a difficult time in.
Drew, give me 1 second. So one of the agenda items is a result of a motion Drew made on the West River Board, and he is a board member. We do allow board members some more leniency. Does anybody on the board have a problem if there's an item you'd like to speak to on the agenda? Having that? Anybody in TV land? No? See a couple head shaking. Okay, no, we'll let you speak at that because you are a board member and this was kind of your motion. So you can speak to the West River request.
So before I do, let me just say, I think, Emily, if you check your email, I think Sue just resent the agenda with an actual link that works this time.
You did, and I opened it up.
Awesome.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
I assume everybody got that. Thank you.
Yeah, it went to all the board members, yeah.
It should have gone out. It should be online too.
Yeah, she's working on that part, but she sent it to the board
So you
members.
can speak to that, yes.
Okay. So then that makes this a little bit briefer for the public, if I can speak to that. So I do recognize that it is a very difficult time, and certainly in education delivery and education funding, and we're all under a lot of stress as board members and kind of the responsible parties to the public to make sure the education is good as well as the affordability. So as there are a bunch of people on the Zoom and certainly a bunch of people that are interested, as a member of the community of Jamaica, board member from Jamaica, we've been put in a very difficult position in the town of Jamaica, looking at what could be 22% tax increases, a request to close a school which has existed in Jamaica since the town was created in Jamaica, as well as this is, by the way, not the first tax increase we're looking at for year over year. So as the board considers its business tonight, I am asking as a member of the public to be considerate of those people that are actually have been asked to sacrifice a lot already in their tax rates as well as closing their school. It's also super important to me, and I do thank whoever worked on the SU website to make sure that the budgets were actually behind the buttons that say budget, so that we have a transparent process and we're able to get questions answered about where the money that we are raising by taxes is going. Certainly since Rich is going to allow me to speak during the new business, I'll raise my questions and concerns then, but I would urge the rest of the members of the public to ask their questions now, and maybe we can get answers later. And as we kind of move through the rest of the night, ask that we be transparent about what we're doing.
Thank you. And it wasn't me, it was the board. It was the board's decision, not my decision. So, thank you, Drew. Sir, you just state your name again before.
My name is Stephen Bryant. I am relatively new to y'all's community compared to some of the families that have been up here a long time. My reason for being here is quite simple. I don't understand what you're doing. I have talked to friends and neighbors, many of whom are not in a position to pay all these exorbitant taxes. And when I look at the cost that has occurred, the increase over the last 3 years, and I compare that to inflation and all the other general numbers I can come up with, I was somewhat amazed and disappointed. So I started trying to figure out where the money's going. And I have looked. I spent 24 years in IT. I spent 10 years in accounting. I've been on 501c3 boards as the treasurer. I'm not a neophyte when it comes to dollars and cents. And yet, in the areas where information is available to me, I can't figure it out. I want you as a board, as a collection of individuals, to realize there are a lot of people out there that don't even have my experience, that have no idea why they're having to pay this money. And they're shaking their heads and they're lost. And they're thinking of moving out and they're losing their homes. And all they want to know, if nothing else, is why are these dollars and cents adding up to thousands of dollars to people for whom a simple flat tire could make the difference on whether or not their kids eat. If you're going to raise our taxes to that degree, please make it patently obvious to us so that we can, with pen, paper, a pair of glasses over a late night, and tick it off and say, oh, this person's position does this. That's why we need $40,000 for that. They're cutting these things so this money goes here. That's why these programs are gone. It's an age of technology, as you said. That information is in PDF files somewhere. Could you please make it available to those of us who I feel, since it is our money, have the right to understand it? So that's what I'm here asking you to do, because there are people who can't afford to stay in their homes and pay the kind of taxes that are being raised for the benefit of what you control. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Karen Amadon from Jamaica, and I'm here to support Drew, who has put a lot of time and energy into looking at the budget. He has questions and reason to think that maybe some monies can be taken out of your budget. We would appreciate it, and I don't have a whole lot more to say other than listen to Drew.
You all set? Thank you, Karen. I'm gonna run around the TV. Valerie, would you like to say anything as members of the public? No? Yes, you can just shake your head too, you don't have to.
No.
Okay, thank you. Mark Schaubert?
Yep, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted Mark Schauber from Dover. Just wanted to say, I know that as board members, it's really difficult to go through these budgets line by line and understand the context, and where the money is coming and going. But as Mr. Bryant, mentioned, it's not easy for the public. And I think it's really important that those who are elected board members spend the time to understand the details so that they can answer questions. And I just wanted to make that.
Thank you, Mark. Are you all set?
Yeah, okay.
Just if you guys could give me 1 second, because I just noticed when somebody starts talking, everybody else moves, so I want to make sure I don't miss people. Is there a second page?
You look at the name side.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I don't see it. Is there? No, I guess everybody's on the
scroll
screen.
down.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody is on the screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. And I know some of you are board members too, so we will just ask if you have anything to say under public. So I've got Rory. Chrissy, we're going to get to you. We're going to go around the room. Rory, do you have anything you'd like?
I'm just here to listen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rory. Abigail Pelton, somewhere. See, they all moved.
Yes.
Well, I want to give everybody a chance. Let me just do this. Go ahead, Abby. Would you?
I do believe Mr. Hazelton brings up some good points, and I also am here to kind of follow what's going along. So thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Robin Patno?
Hi, I'm a parent and resident of Townsend. My daughter goes to Townsend. I'm here to just kind of follow along, but also support Drew and getting some more transparency to the people of our community. And I also urge everyone to, when you're making these cuts, that is going to be happening, to think where those cuts are going to directly relate to our students. Working in the school, I understand how budgets are extremely tight, and cutting things for students is going to be really hard. And I hope that there can be some creative ways, with maybe not spending money on some of the extras or capital projects, that we can keep the focus on giving our students the best enrichment that's possible. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robin. You all set? Lindsay Bertram?
Hi, I am a West River rep, and I am also a parent of 3 students in the West River district. And I just wanted to be here to make sure that everybody has a good understanding of the situation that the West River Board is currently in. It's a tough spot to be asked to find $1 million. And I have no doubt in my heart and mind that the SU board passed its budget with absolute good faith. However, it was also done without the knowledge that we were going to be looking for $1 million. So it seems like a no-brainer to give it an extra close scrutinizing look when the local budget is having to do the same. So I just want to make sure that we're turning every stone and making sure that we are, everybody is able to, find what they can find where they can find it.
Thank you, Lindsay. I think there was a Chris iPhone. Yes, Chris's iPhone. Going once.
Hi, just here to listen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Michael P.
Hello, this is Michael Pelton from Windham. I would encourage you to also, as the rest of the folks are, to look at ways to reduce costs. The overall budget from the big board also affects Windham. We have students that are also going to Townsend and the high school as well, the middle school as well. And I understand the cuts are going to be painful. If the West River Board is required to remove $1 million, it could be even more painful. So I would encourage everyone to try to find ways to mitigate some of the costs. I know that I was part of a larger organization in the state when we were faced with some undesirable cost increases. They looked at pay freezes and things like that. I don't know if that's a possibility, but I think it's the time where everybody needs to be really creative. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Kristen L. I'm not going to try your last name because Lemke. I'm sorry, Christy Lemke.
Yeah, just listening in. Thanks.
Okay. Trevor?
I'm just here to listen. Thank you.
Trevor, can you give us your last name because Meredith's going to need it for the agenda, or for the minutes, I mean.
Hazelton.
Thank you, sir. I have a Dale Sherman. I don't know where. What? Dale Sherman? Lower right.
Just here to listen.
Thank you, Dale. Chrissy Haskins, it's your turn now. We finally got to you.
Thank you. Primarily here to support Drew. I am a resident, taxpayer, and parent in Jamaica. And as everybody knows, we've been asked to close our school, and regardless of how the vote went, the reality of it is that we aren't going to have a school moving forward. Other people have spoke to our district needing to cut $1 million. Jamaica's going to bear the brunt of that in terms of a tax increase, and our kids are going to lose programming. So just really echoing everybody else's comments to really look at things hard. And thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. Casey? Casey Eaker? Or is it? Yeah.
Oh, it's Keegan.
Keegan. I'm sorry, Keegan. It says Casey.
I know, but it's Keegan.
Okay. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Leanne.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry, I had trouble unmuting. I am a West River rep and also a parent in the district, and I'm mostly just here to support Drew and West River's suggestion to relook through the SU budget. Whether or not there are cuts to be found, I do not know. I was not part of that budget creation as I'm not on this board. But I don't see how going through it would hurt given the situation that I know that West River's in, and it would only help other districts as well with any cuts that might be able to be found. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe the last one I have is Kate G. Kate Garen.
Hi, thanks so much. I'm Kate Gehring. I'm a member of the West River Board, and for the moment, I'm here to listen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kate. Did I miss anybody?
We had a couple late ads.
Okay.
As well. Sue Stomsky and Terry Davison-Berger.
And I don't think I called on Jamie, did I?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so Jamie, I'm sorry, I've missed you somehow.
No, that's quite all right. I'm just here to observe. Thank you.
Okay, and oh, Sue Stomsky. I'm sorry, Sue.
Don't be sorry. Just here to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And who was it? Terry. Terry Davison Berger, please. Terry, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay.
I'm just here to listen. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to make you unmute. Okay, love technology. New business. 25-26 school calendar, which should be in your package. Robin, I don't think you have to share with Drew. He said he doesn't share well, so if you have a problem, just let us know.
Are we going to be doing this in the strict accordance of Robert's rules, or are we a little more relaxed?
Oh, we're going to be relaxed until we can't be relaxed.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got the Windham Central Supervisory Union calendar. Years ago, we used to all have different calendars. Now, it pretty much revolves around the career centers. So Bob got together with all his counterparts, which may be a lot less in the future, and they came up with a calendar. They gave you 2 weeks, full 2 weeks off at Christmas time, and Kate counted it up. There's 5 weeks of vacation.
5 full
5 full weeks.
Plus a lot of random dates.
So anyways, as an SU, we approve it. We approve it for the individual boards. In the old days, individual boards used to change them a little bit, like the ski areas would do something a little different than the other areas because parents had to work and stuff. But it's pretty much now it's really difficult because people have children in elementary school and in high school and middle schools, and if everybody's got a different schedule, we drive some parents crazy. So, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the Windham Central SU calendar?
I will so move.
Thank you, Dan. Do I have a second?
Kate will second.
Kate will second. Is there any discussion from anybody? Board. So what's going on up there?
You know,
Somebody raised their hand.
I don't know if I just keep it again or.
Oh.
Rich.
It's me.
Okay, Keegan, this is a board thing, so I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I'm making the motion because we have looked at this with our principal, and she has agreed that it's going to work for her. So I would like people to know that it's not just a rubber stamp, I guess is my point.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give a little more background to the process if you want.
Well, does anybody need more background? Are you guys okay? I don't want to give background then. I didn't hear one way or another. Anybody want more background, or you're all ready to vote? Going once, going twice. Let's vote. All those in favor of approving the proposed 25-26 school calendar signify so by saying aye.
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 Any nays? It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. I would say it's a unanimous decision in the affirmative. You guys all have a calendar? West River request to reopen SU budget. So we had a request at the West River meeting. I don't remember I don't know when it was. I wasn't there. But Al, you want to speak to this quickly?
Yeah, so we did, everybody's already kind of discussed it, but there were a lot of things that we obviously did not know at the time when the SU budget and our TSS budget were approved, especially at the West River level. We suddenly went from, I believe it was 600,000 to a need for $1 million of a decrease based on long-term weighted ADM, amongst other things. So yeah, there's just some information that was unknown at that time, things that have changed that were out of our control. So I believe that was the impetus for us to bring that up for Drew to bring that motion forward. I'm sure you can speak more to that. But
Okay, so would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make that motion for the West River, I'm sorry, for the SU to reopen the budget.
Okay.
Rich, I'm going to second it, and the reason why is because I believe it's a good conversation to have. I can't promise that I will vote for any changes to the budget because I like the budget and approved it, However, I believe that democracy is well served by opening it up. So that's the reason for seconding Al's motion.
Okay. So Al moved to reopen the SU budget. Dan seconded that motion. So now we have discussion. So you made the motion. You get to, if you want to add anything else to.
I think the only thing I would add is that, this is, as we've seen today, there is so much going on at the state level, at the local level, so many unknowns. For a budget that we had to come down to a unified tax rate, which made sense, and then through the sausage making of the budget for many of the towns to have not outrageous tax increases, and yet Jamaica, as was alluded to, has a very, very high tax rate, and that's a result of the CLA. Other towns did not have as much of an impact with the CLA, so not nearly as difficult for them as well. But we are a district of all of these towns, so we need to look at each individual town within the districts, and I support looking under every rock given the circumstances and the situation that we're all in.
Let's go second.
I sort of said my piece about the democracy part, but I want to apologize at the same time to Heidi and for if we are going to go through this, Heidi and Bob, what's it going to mean? So I think it will be as a result of a vote of this full board, if in fact it is reopened. Is that correct?
So if we were to vote to reopen it, we need to give our administration some time to look at the budget and to come back to us. The other thing is, though, the West River Board has a deadline, as does Marlboro. I think you guys vote at the same time. I'm not sure when Windham votes.
They've already adopted the budget.
Oh, who?
We've adopted it,
Right, but
if
the numbers change at the SU, then their numbers are going to change.
Yeah.
So
They're a town meeting day, right?
Yes, we are. Yes.
So we would have to, they're going to have to deal with that.
Stratton and Windham as well.
Stratton and Windham as well. In our budget, we don't really start on our budget for another month or so.
West River's end of March, you guys are end of April.
Right. So I think, yes, we would ask them, and so what we would probably have to do is we would have to have another board meet, a WCSU board meeting, and we'd have to look at what West River's schedule is, because they may need to adjust their schedule a little bit too. But that, whichever way the vote goes, that's what we would have to do.
Right. I guess I just wanted to clarify that it will be the people who are on the Windham Central Board who are either present digitally or in person, who will be voting on this after we've completed the discussion.
Correct. Okay. Anybody who's live, I'm sorry. Joe, Dana, Kate, you don't have to say anything. You all set, Dana? Yeah. You all set? On TV Land.
I got a question.
Who's that? Howie?
Yeah. What are we looking at for cuts? I mean, there must be somebody must have looked at this budget and identified something.
Yeah, Howie, so the first question is if we're going to reopen it. Then the next part of it would be we would send the administration to go look at that. And they can take.
But somebody must have, I mean, if we're going to take the vote to reopen it, I would like to know the reason. Like somebody must have identified some line in that budget that Drew could speak to that maybe. What in particular that we're looking to, if we're going to go to the trouble of reopening it, how much are we looking to cut? And what kind of things? I just, I'm not looking for an all flat out, budget discussion and decision here. I'm just curious as to what people, what did you have in mind when he brought it up?
Can you speak to the discussion that the West River Board had?
I can. We didn't actually get into particulars of the WCSU budget or the MTSS.
Okay.
Can I defer my time to Drew so he can speak?
No, we'll get to Drew. We'll have a minute too. Howie, you all set then? Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to know, what line items we might be cutting.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe they reopen and we have to increase line items. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but somebody looked at that budget and said, we need to reopen this budget, and saw something in there they didn't like.
And Drew, did you hear Drew's initial comments?
Yes,
Okay.
but there was stuff in there, but there wasn't a particular line that at least maybe I missed it.
No, and he didn't. He just asked that we look at the budget. If you're all set, Howie, I'll go on to somebody else. Emily? No.
Thank you for asking. I don't have anything to add.
We also have Peter B.
I think that that Drew has something prepared that should be answering Howie's questions here. My only comment.
Okay, thank you. Dwight?
Yeah, I'm fine for now, Rich.
Rachel? Is Rachel still there? Let's see here.
Nope.
Howie, we got 3 minutes.
All right. So I'll do the best I can in 3 minutes to explain what is certainly, as everybody
just
has
roughly,
mentioned,
so we're not all night.
is complicated. So the way we kind of got here, like I mentioned, is through a very difficult budget discussion at West River, and much like everybody else's board, the second largest expenditure for our district, beyond our own staff, would be what we contract with the SU for. So when we are talking about making cuts to academic programs, and we're literally looking at every single dollar, shaving off 1,000 or 10,000 from one program or another program, it only makes sense to look at the second largest line item in your own budget. So with that, I did start looking at the superintendent's budgets. And again, credit to the SU for fixing some of the technology challenges. It took me over an hour to locate the documents so that I could actually start to review that information. I also did ask, multiple different budget meetings for some explanations to make it easier to examine what has happened, not only in the current adopted by this board budget, but also the spending over the last couple of years. And when I kind of dug through that, there were some things that were that I noticed. And again, in 3 minutes, I can't go through all of it. And as Rick said, once the budget is reopened, it would be a time to examine each individual line item. But there's certainly some things that are noteworthy. We've added additional positions over the last 3 years. So we added 2 years ago, we had an equity coordinator. We effectively have changed the role of curriculum coordinator to match the role of assistant superintendent, and backfilled that with another position. And we can, if anybody's interested in the background, I can't get into it, I don't have enough time, but I can certainly show you kind of the materials behind it. And this year, there was some additions, specifically in the MTSS budget for, I think the number was $559,000 for new positions to be added at the SU level. So naturally, when I see a $500,000 increase in a line item, the question is, what is that for? So I have been trying to get to the bottom of, like, specifically what are we hiring? We're hiring 6 new positions. I did find out that that's 3.9 FTE special ed and 1.5 para, but yet I still haven't seen a justification for those increases in costs. So what concerns me is at a time where we are actively cutting academic programs for our kids, we're also adding additional positions at the SU that I, as a board member and member of the public, have not been able to get an actual cost justification for as of right now. There's other items in the budget that I found to be questionable. When And I still don't, I know that I'd asked Bob and he was gonna look into a $99,000 increase in one line for a CODA position, another chunk of salary reserve money that was in the line items. Again, like somebody had mentioned, at a time where we're cutting academic programs, is salary reserve something we really should be putting in a budget while we're cutting programs in other places? There's a $117,000 increase in one line for changing from a para to a special ed teacher. I would hope that the salary difference between a para and a special ed teacher is not $117,000. And these are questions that I still wonder about. So the reason why I've asked for the budget to be reopened is so that the board can, and hopefully in a transparent way, examine each of these and determine if there's any cost savings to be had. Decide if the 2 new administrative positions that we added in the last 2 years are still more important than the academic programs that we have to cut. West River Education District is 65% of the SU's budget. So if $100,000 was cut, we may be able to hold on to an academic program that we're currently looking at taking away from our children. So that's where the request came from. And like I said, I know that Rich is on a tight timeline, but I have raised some questions and concerns about some other line items in the budget that are not quite so specific. But that's why I'm asking that the SU open the budget and have a meaningful conversation about all of those changes. If you look at the total SU budget over the last few years, it's gone up. What you'll also notice is that last year, the SU bought down the budget using fund balance of $800,000. The SU also bought down the budget this year with $1.1 million in fund balance, which means next year, these added positions that we're putting in now are going to cause an even larger funding cliff, because we're not realizing the full burden of those positions this year because we're using fund balance at the same time we're adding new positions. So that's why I am asking that this board open the budget and reconsider the additional spending and reconsider the additional positions that we've added over the last couple of years. And I would certainly be glad to meet with any board member and explain what I have, through my research, uncovered that makes me think this is a necessity.
Thank you, sir. Okay, everybody got round 1. Is there any other comments, questions on round 2? You guys all good here? Folks in TV land, anybody? Any other comments, questions?
Thank you, Drew. That was well explained.
Anybody else? I think I got Dwight, Peter, Emily, Howie's on TV, and do I have one more? No, I got 4 board members on TV, 6 here.
Lindsay has a hand up.
Lindsay, this is for the board. Thank you. So, are you folks ready? If there's no other discussion, are you ready to vote?
Rich, I wonder whether Heidi and Bob, if you had a chance to look at these specific questions, I would be interested to hear, if you have a response to them, what your response is. But if you haven't had a chance to do that thoroughly, then I don't want to put you on the spot.
So I'm also, and again, you guys can vote me down, but my thought is that's the question isn't whether it's reductions or increases. It's do we want to take another look at the budget? And I mean, the budget wasn't adopted in any, it wasn't secretly sent out. I mean, it was in warned meetings. The boards were aware of it, but the point was that at that time the boards didn't know what it meant to their other budget. I think that's kind of the crux of it. So, okay, Emily.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to quickly say, for the record, kind of echoing a little bit of what you just started to say, Rich, that a lot of effort went into this budget. If the board chooses to reopen it, then the board chooses to reopen it. But I don't want anyone to think that this was just flippantly done, that we spent quite a lot of time on every line item in the budget in front of us. And I believe, that night unanimously voted in support of that. And we did that because it met the needs of our students, which is how we always vote on our budgets, whether we're on our district or whether at the SU level. It is always focused on what our students need. And that is, I know, hard for folks to sometimes grasp from the outside if they haven't been through the budget process. And I don't remember anybody being at the budget meeting when we had it, but maybe they were there. I can't remember who attends all the meetings, but it is, a shift that we have done, not just us, but boards all across the state have engaged in a process that has shifted much of our work to the SU level, especially the MTSS budget based on Act 173 and all the work we've done. And I also just wanted to echo any of the kind comments made for our staff who have worked really hard on this. And when we had questions that night, and we did, they were answered thoroughly to our satisfaction. I have no problem with opening it up again to take a look. I suspect we'll come to the same conclusion because, again, it was based on our students' needs. And I'll just add one last thing. We're in a very difficult situation at West River trying to keep our budget below an excess spending threshold. We are high spenders in the West River District based on the exact same thing I just said. We have tried very hard to make sure our kids have the programs and the services they need, and that including things like after school and many other things that we've been supporting for a long time, and we've just hit a wall. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that as well. It's been a very difficult time for all of us, but I don't think it's reflective on this West River budget. This Windham Central budget. So thank you.
Okay, you guys all ready to vote?
Yeah.
Howie, I'm sorry, not Howie. Howie's up there, he just said something. Dan, I kind of cut you off a little bit, I'm sorry. You all set?
I accept your reasoning that we're not getting into the back and forth on the specifics tonight. We're just voting whether to get into the topics. I'm all set. Yeah, thanks, Rich.
Okay. If I hear no other comments, the motion was to reopen the WCSU budget. Motion was properly made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, please signify so by saying aye.
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 You want to raise? No, hang on. Any opposed? Okay, we don't have a unanimous vote since we're on a hybrid meeting. We're going to do a roll call vote. I'm going to go by a list I just found. So we'll go around the room. Give me 1 second. Okay. Emily Long, West River.
Aye.
Al Clausen from West River.
Aye.
Kate Rideout from River Valleys.
I don't know.
How about you?
How vote I? Nay.
Dwight?
Nay.
Peter B. Peters.
We're sorry.
Sorry.
Aye.
Oh, Howie, I'm sorry. I had the wrong name. I had somebody else.
Aye.
Rachel, I believe, left us. She left. Okay. Dan MacArthur from Marlboro.
Nay.
Allison Young from Stratton isn't here. This is not right. Joe. Yes. Joe Winrich.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
And then Leanne Jilson. Is Leanne?
No.
She's not on your list.
She was replaced.
She's not a.
Yeah, I think Paul replaced her, right?
So is there anybody I missed?
It's Al, Dana, Emily, me, and Peter.
Paul. He's not here.
So I got Al,
He should.
Emily,
Wyndham's
Dana,
not ours,
Joe,
He's on the
Peter.
SU. No, he's West River. He's the Windham rep for West River, and he's on the SU board.
How many can we have?
I believe you have 6.
Okay, then that's right. Sorry.
But he's not here. Allison's not here, and Rachel left.
Okay, so we have, this works out, right?
You should have 10 people voting.
Yeah. So I have 6 ayes and 3 nays. So we will reopen, we will look at the reopen the budget. So what that means though, Bob, is when is West River's next meeting?
So they meet on Tuesday the 28th.
Which is next Tuesday.
Right, yeah, special meeting.
Okay, so I don't think we'll be able to we're not gonna be able to get a meeting in that quick. Bob, how long will you need to look at the numbers and get, tell us what you think?
Rich, can I ask a question before Bob
Yeah.
answers? We haven't directed the administration to come back with a different budget.
No, the request was to reopen the budget and look at it because there's questions about what it is. People didn't, have questions what different line items are. So my thought is I'd like to have them come back with the budget and explain it to us.
So, right. So I just wanted to I want it to be very clear. We're not asking the administration to do anything to the budget, but just to find time in their schedule to come to a meeting to explain it as they did before.
Right. So my understanding is
I just wanted it clarified. That's all.
I want to make sure we're right. My understanding is at the West River meeting, there was questions about number of people, what's required, what isn't. There was a whole gamut of questions. So I would like to have a sit down with the administration and go over each line item and just see what it is, how many people it is, and have a discussion about it and then see what's required and what isn't.
Yeah, I was just trying to get some clarity around what we're asking the administration to do, which is just schedule a meeting.
Thursday is my first availability because of meetings, and then the following week.
Okay, we're gonna try to meet next Thursday. If we were to meet at 6 o'clock, how many board members can make that?
What's the date of that, Rich?
Well, the date of that's the 29th, right? No, the 30th.
Thursday it's the 30th.
The 30th. January 30th.
Rich, this is only me, but I did, one of the things that when I was hired on was I expressed concern about the number of meetings and being able to see my kids do things. Next Thursday, I have a negotiations meeting that was going to end in time for me to get to my daughter's basketball game. And now, if we do this, I will not be able to do that. So I put it out there. I'm fine. I serve with the pleasure of the board if that's what the board wants. But that was one of the concerns I expressed with the SU board when I was hired.
Yeah, I think this is a special
I
circumstance.
don't disagree with that.
And
Just
I don't
want you to
think
know
we've
that.
ever asked it again.
I just want you to be aware.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if we can do the 30th, it just, we're under a little time constraint.
I'll be available. The negotiation, I believe, goes to 6:30.
6:30.
After that.
I'm in Dana and I are in the negotiation meeting as well.
Okay, so can you do, guys, do
7.
6:30?
6:30 or 7. I mean, you do.
Yeah, well, let's shoot for 7 then.
Okay.
And that gives everybody time. Okay, so can everybody, is there anybody that can't make next Thursday at 7?
I can't.
Who?
Howie.
Howie, okay.
I won't know. I'll try.
Okay. Because we can only lose a couple.
I have a meeting, but I cut out short.
Okay. So it sounds, Dwight is over there. Who else do I have on there?
Yeah, I'm good then, Rich.
Peter.
Peter? Peter? I'm gonna assume you can.
Sorry about that. I am working that day, but I work most days, so don't base it on me.
So Peter,
I'd rather this happen sooner than later.
I'm gonna give you some advice. I cut back on working. I only work on days that end in Y now. So I won't be working tomorrow until it's today. So if you try that, you'll be okay.
I'll take that under advisement.
Okay, thank you, sir. Why don't we do Thursday, 7 o'clock here? That would be square. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. I don't know how you're gonna adjust your schedule.
I'll figure it out.
Okay. But I mean, your budgeting schedule for West River.
Oh.
So just, if you're having a meeting on Tuesdays. So Bob, just if we could again, I know we all got in the packet, but can you make sure you send the budget to all board members? Not just of this board, but.
All boards.
Yeah, all the boards.
And
Okay.
it might, I mean, we might have different materials to help clarify things as well.
Yeah,
That would be an
no,
addition
that would be fine. And make sure it's just, there's some attachments on the agenda. I think it's gonna be a one agenda item. It will be to review the budget. Okay. What's that, boss?
The question was, where are those documents available to the public ahead of time?
Yeah, I just asked that it be attached to the agenda.
I'm sorry.
So,
Where to find that?
We're asking
yeah,
the question.
okay, no.
I have old ears.
You have old ears?
Yes.
Cool. You're allowed that.
Good. Every other part of me is old.
No, you don't want your ears to be younger than your, rest of your body. You'll get you in trouble. You'll hear something, you won't be able to react quick enough.
It is generally my mouth.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. That was a tough, there was a little bit of a tough discussion. And Drew, thank you for your presentation. The next thing we have is the financial. Yeah.
Can we get as much specific information ahead of time?
Yeah, that's
in
what
terms
yes.
of, no, not from them.
Oh.
But if we're questioning specific line items rather than the generalities that we kind of got,
Drew,
can we get that
Right.
detailed question?
Drew did up a nice little thing of questions. Drew, is it okay if I share that? Okay.
Okay.
I'll get
Written
that
questions,
out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
some of it was, so just for full disclosure, Drew contacted me after the West River meeting. He explained to me that there was some stuff that he wanted to discuss. I asked him to send me some questions in writing. I shared it with Bob. We did meet yesterday for lunch, but I brought pizza and Drew can't eat cheese, so I kind of knew that. I was trying to knock him off, but it didn't work. But we did go over some stuff, and then there's some other questions. So
Okay.
we are trying to answer. We just, the problem with all this budgeting stuff is it's not like cut and dry because, we're trying to forecast the future a year and a half out. And I've always said at Dover's town meeting that if I could predict, what oil is going to cost a year and a half out, I'd be playing the futures market. I'd be on a tropical island with a harem of people taking care of me. And, so it's a best guess. 1 year in Dover, we had a family move out of town and we saved $250,000. And Stamford called us up because they moved to Stamford and they didn't budget for that. And this was September 1st. What were we going to, they wanted us to pay for the bill. And I'm like, it's how it works. So
Yeah.
the one act that makes special ed out of the SU kind of balanced that a little bit. But it's still, if you move across an SU line and it goes to a different SU, it's all not easy.
No, thank you. I figured that would be easier for our administration.
So,
Much detail as
Bob,
possible.
can we just share that questions that Drew had? Just take his email off, so. Or do you need me to send
Share it with who?
Just as part of the packet,
Yeah.
so that people can see what Drew brought up. And you said you were okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a couple I'm going to add to it.
Well, then send me a new set of
I'll
questions.
send you a clean set.
Okay, send Bob and I a clean set, please. Okay, don't make it too difficult for him. I got the financial questionnaire. So this form actually.
Hey, Rich, can I just, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I couldn't get my screen off, but I just wanted to say it would seem to me that emails that are sent to you regarding that are public documents anyway, right?
Yeah, but we don't, the public can't go look at my email.
No, I'm just saying that if you've got a list, that's all we need, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, and that's what we'll do, but he's got a couple more, we did meet yesterday, so there's a couple more questions that came from that, so it'll make it a little easier, so we're not kind of just swatting at flies.
And just, can add one thing.
Quickly.
Some of my questions got answered very well, and I understand better based on our conversation yesterday, so I can clarify the language of the question to make it easier for everybody else to understand what I was asking. So,
No, thank you.
so it may be a little bit different question based on better understanding from our meeting.
Okay. Cool. So I'd like to go to the financial questionnaire. So this actually was, I always used to do this as the chair, and it was really, there were some crazy questions like, who keeps the student activity cash check receipts, and I remember, I forget his name, he used to do a comedy thing on Saturday Night Live, he wanted to be the bank and he'd keep all his money in this pocket or this pocket or, and a lot of things have changed. So there's a financial questionnaire, but they actually did change it because it used to be the person had to sign it and we would sign it as a board. But this year it has the person prepares it and then the supervisory board certifies that they've reviewed it, and within 2 months of receiving it, we just received it tonight. So I did hand it out. Not everybody in TV land got it, but it's basically the same answers that we've always had. With the exception of there's a question that I always have loved. Does the school district loan money to town employees? So I'm doing this for SU. I don't know if West River or Stratton or Marlboro or Windham loans money to town employees, but I don't think there's the WCSU. I've always loved that question, but it's there. It's free. You can look at it. If nobody has a problem, I'm just going to sign it. And if anybody has any questions, but it is always kind of interesting to know where stuff is. And for years and years, Dover, Marlboro were not part of WCSU's financial package. We actually paid a little less in SU dues because, we did our town treasurers did the finances, but with the schools combining, and everything going through the SU now, it's not as good. So I know you guys in TV land don't have it. I can also put this off if you guys want, and we can get it out to everybody and sign it next Thursday. What's your all pleasure?
I would say go for it, Rich. It looks good to me. It's the same. Some of the questions are a little bit ridiculous. You're absolutely right. But I don't think that people who haven't seen it are going to have an issue with it, is my sense.
And to be honest, I did complete it. I gave it to Bob yesterday. That's what I was talking to Bob after you left. I did, there's one that I changed. The only difference between Heidi and myself was there's a question there that says, do you know of anybody who embezzles money, who's embezzled money? Oh, yeah, where's that question?
Second from the bottom.
Yeah, our bank, no, that's not it. Oh, maybe on this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you experienced a theft or embezzlement during the last 5 years? And I put, not that we know of yet, because a couple embezzlement cases I did, we never found out about until, it was almost the statute of limitations was up, so who knows? But anyways, we're gonna sign it then if nobody objects. You just have to date it too. No, thank you. 25, I was trying to write 02. I wanna be younger again. Who?
Crystal Corby.
Crystal, the members of the public is over.
Okay, I had a hard time getting on. I couldn't find the link.
Okay. So Crystal's not somebody we talked to earlier?
No, she did join late.
Okay, Crystal, we did members of the public early. If you have a comment, we'll give you a couple minutes, but then we need to move on.
It's not a comment, it's kind of a question. And Bob can email me the answer, that's fine. I just have a question. If a student has accommodations like a 504, but they don't use any of the accommodations, is there any kind of cost to the SU because that student does have a 504?
You don't have to answer now. She's.
I mean, the answer is no. It's easy.
Okay. I'm sorry, Crystal, did you get that?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other new business from anybody on boards? Okay, I want, again, just give me a couple minutes and I'll be all done. But one of the things I was thinking about with this issue that was brought up tonight about the reopening the SU budget, you know, we had to do in the old days, we had to do the SU budget by the end of November, beginning of December, because the Leland and Gray district had to vote before the towns all voted, the individual towns, before you were in one big district. I think I mentioned this to you the other day. And so we always had to push up to do that. And we could, you know, we never were able to get quorums in December because everybody's getting ready for the holidays. So we always kind of pushed it off to the beginning of Thanksgiving. And now that we're all voting different, I'm wondering if, of course, now what we heard today is it may not make a difference anyways. This may be the last year that we do this. But if we are going to do this again in the future, I just want to throw it out before the meeting. Should all the schools consider maybe pushing off their district meetings later, and should maybe maybe the SU can push us off a little bit again? And all joking aside, I said to Bob, you know, just because we have no hair, we can't shine our head and it's not a magic ball or a crystal ball that tells us the future. So maybe Bob's does, I don't know. But I'm wondering if we should maybe consider that. And one of the things is I use as an example, when we first started River Valleys, Lori came to us one year and said, you know, you're looking at a 50% tax increase, you know, in your tax rate. And I'm like, we're not going to do that. But yeah, if you look at the stuff right now, we're looking at a pretty huge tax increase. But I'm not nervous because, you know, the numbers aren't done yet. You know, the people in Montpelier do their thing, we do our thing, you know, and it all has to come together. So I'm just wondering if we were to push things off a little bit. That year we actually had a tax decrease by the time it was all said and done, and our budget didn't change at all because of the legislature. And, you know, remember we don't get really the one of our biggest things is always is payroll. You know, personnel expenses is your biggest expense. And one of the, you know, so we have contract negotiations that aren't completed yet, so we don't know what that number is going to be. You know, in November we have a guess on what our health insurance is, but that's one of our biggest cost drivers. We have no control over that. That's, you know, a negotiation council. So there's a lot more numbers that would become clearer if we could even just push it off another month. Again, I know some districts, you know, their dates are set by their articles of agreement, some maybe not. But if we could push things off, it may give us a better picture. Just something to think about. Again, depending what what happens with Emily's group, you know, or with the legislature, you know, it could be a totally different thing. Go ahead, Emily.
So I just wanted to mention one thing that you didn't bring up that impacts the overall budgets, and that is what other people are spending in their districts. And I think that's really, really important to keep in mind, because while the legislature does occasionally have an impact, the biggest impact on most years really is what other folks are spending. And I would just suggest that maybe this year they're spending less because of the excess spending threshold and other things. So we don't know.
Rich, can I just get a clarification on that? I think West River already votes not in the first Tuesday of March. Is that correct?
Correct. We're the 25th, but
Fourth
yeah,
Tuesday.
You're mid-April. Is it mid-April?
End of April.
End of April.
Yeah.
We were actually May a few times.
Yeah. So if
it might make sense.
If you guys can do it, other districts ought to be able to do it as
well.
But
Emily's point is that, you know, then the state doesn't know, you know, but that allows us to adjust, but it doesn't allow the state to. And again, it's not like it used to be where you voted a school budget and just people in the town paid that tax. But of course, you know, most of the West River towns never had that because, you know, you had the Leland Gray Union, but you always had that vote, and then you would go on to the, you know, to the town vote. And one of the reasons when I was chairman the first time around at WCSU, we stopped voting on the agency fund item because of Townsend, and I think Al, I'm pretty sure you were there, Al. Townsend was like, we're having trouble getting budgets passed. We don't want to be locked into having 2 days of band. Maybe we're going to have to, if our budget gets reduced, and kind of like what Drew was saying. So it's always hard, you know. I think the most important thing that people need to remember is a budget is not an exact number. It's a little easier on you folks, but especially like tuition towns, if we have 20 new students move in, you know, at $20,000 a student, there's almost $500,000 we didn't plan on. But if we planned on those 20 students and they all moved out of town, you know, we got a pretty nice surplus. So we like Drew was saying about spending the surplus. So every school has a little different, you know, with the West River group, you could have 20 new high school students move in, and even it may not affect you. You know, you're not going to get to count for them if they move in November or December, but you don't have to you don't have to pay all that money. So there's pros and cons to everything, and it's just, I really, and it is a difficult thing to understand, you know, how the statewide property tax works and how it, so. But we're all done. I'll get off my soapbox. Everybody all set on there? Old business, there's no other new business. Old business district updates. I'll start with you guys.
Yeah, we've said a lot of it, so I'm going to show a lot of great detail about that. Yeah, so we'll look forward to see what happens over the next month, and if we'll get a nice solid budget in place and make sure that our students have the best possible that we can, given the circumstances.
You want to tell us, Marlboro?
So I'll say essentially what we said at the executive committee meeting the other day, which is Marlboro's not planning on changing programming this year because none of us have any idea what it's going to look like next year. So we've worked with Heidi now, and we're going to use a large portion of our fund balance to reduce the local property taxes this year to essentially get us through until we know what the heck is going on. So that's our method for dealing with what we're up against here.
Howie, you want to do Windham? Is Howie still? Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm still here.
You want to give us a quick update on Windham?
Our folks are very concerned about closing schools because we depended on a lot of these schools for sending our kids. We're not operating a school right now. We're tuitioning. We've been rewarded by the state tax rules for closing our school by getting our tax rate lowered. It doesn't make any sense to me, but so be it. Here we are. That's how it is. Well, there are a lot of folks who are very unhappy because we have no public school, and there are a lot of folks that are very happy because they're now getting a voucher to send their kids to private school. And there are several folks that are just not sending their kids to school anymore. And I'm very, we're concerned that we have a convenient school as per the Vermont Constitution. That's about it. I don't want to drag this meeting out any longer than necessary.
Thank you, Howie. Good to have you back on the board, sir.
Thank you.
You want to do Stratton? Stratton's are all done, right? Their budgets.
Yeah, they adopted their budget.
Yep.
That's pretty much all it is. It's pretty
Yeah.
quiet, Stratton.
Okay. Did they make any changes in staffing at the school?
Same as last year.
Okay. They've been pretty consistent, you
Yeah,
know.
they keep a consistent staff, I think.
Zero.
How's their electric bill?
Kate's gonna do River Valleys.
So River Valleys is doing well. We have not yet gone through our full budget process. We are listening to our community, and if they're coming to our meetings, we're happy to listen to what they have to say and take that under consideration. And we are going through all of those elements and just getting updates from our local elementary schools that we operate, and then all of the students. So it's been.
We're trying to encourage the participation so we don't have an issue where people come out at town meeting. But one of the things I've always really liked with us doing a live town meeting is we're gonna walk away with a budget. It may not be the budget we presented, it may be less, it may be more, but we get to stay there till we get a budget that we agreed to, which is not so easy with the ballot. I understand why. I served with Kim Gleason on the state board, and you know, we were talking, she says there was like several thousand voters in her district, school district. So how do you have a live town meeting, a live meeting with 7,000 people? Wow, that would be a fun one, but thank you. I got the minutes of the 11/20/24 meeting where we approved the budget.
I move that we approve them as presented.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll second.
We're gonna give it to Al. He jumped right in. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. Emily, I meant to, under district updates, I know you guys had a presentation. Do you want to speak to it for just a broad strokes, or is that, I don't want to put you on the spot either.
It's not putting me on the spot. I would encourage people to go watch it on the legislative website. Happened at 3:45 this afternoon. Haven't had any meeting since that. We did it at the end of the day and then adjourned. So our committee, just so everyone knows, I'm on the House Ed Committee now, and the committee will meet tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow morning. I haven't looked at my agenda, but I think it's tomorrow morning. We'll meet with Ways and Means to hear more and be able to ask questions. There were no questions allowed after the presentation. My interpretation of it was very interesting, very short on details, and I look forward to hearing more from the agency and the governor.
Who was the presentation from?
The secretary and the tax commissioner. So Zoe Saunders and Craig Bolio.
Okay. Thank you.
And it was also, it wasn't just the governor. There were two documents that were presented, and the only one they spoke to was a PowerPoint presentation, which should be on the legislative website as well. If anybody needs it, I can find a digital copy of it.
Bob, is there any way you know where it is, right?
Yeah, actually, Joe sent it to me.
VSBA sent it to me already.
Okay,
I sent it to Bob. I can send it to
Bob,
anybody that needs it.
I'll bring it forward to all boards.
Bob's going to send it out to everybody. So if you have a question, what about the link?
There's an education transformation proposal as well, which is a written document. Bob, I don't know if you have that or whether VSBA sent that to you, Joe.
Yes.
But there were two documents, and I think it's important that you see both.
There's actually three. There's the PowerPoint, the 17-page transformation program, and then what they call the one-pager. And then there's a YouTube video of the PowerPoint presentation already.
Right, because we did live stream.
So do me a favor, will you send those links to Bob? And Bob, please send it to every board member, not just the super board. I think it's important.
Yep, will do.
Okay, thank you guys. Emily, thank you.
Sure.
Great having legislators in the board. We got the minutes. Superintendent evaluation, so this will be, we should be able to get this done in 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. But it's actually, all I wanted to do was I asked Allison, who couldn't make it tonight, but she sent it to Kate. So we have, there's 6 boards altogether, right? 1, 2, 3, there's 5 boards altogether. And only one board has submitted theirs. So if your board hasn't submitted it yet, please get it in by the end of February. End of February, Bob?
Yeah, you'll need your March 26 meetings when you want to do it.
Right. Okay. We have one superintendent, and he did his, so he's a super achiever. We have 6 principals, and half of them did it. And we had, I think it's 3 to 5 central office staff, and there was a little bit of a glitch with that, and it went out to like every employee of the SU. So I don't think we're going to review all those. We'll just do the usually it's the cabinet.
Well, I can have it resent just to the cabinet. Maybe the date of that can inform.
Okay. so we know, because remember, I don't know, we know it came from a board, but we don't know which board. So, that was it on superintendent evaluation. I don't know, any questions on that? I think that was all the old business. So we will be meeting, Bob, I owe you, we'll bring dinner. We're gonna meet next Thursday at 7 o'clock here. It'll be square. And then we'll have to figure out if we need more meetings after that. I have nothing else. It's, I know it's only 8:25 and we've only been an hour and a half, but, you know, does anybody want to stay any longer?
I move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, doesn't need to be seconded, doesn't need to be voted on. Let's get the heck out of Dodge. Thank you, everybody on TV for coming.
5 minutes ahead.
Thank you, board members. Please make sure you try to make that meeting next week.
Nothing
Do you know
against
what
Al,
happened?